My name is Wendy York. I grew up in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I work as a mediator for my own company, York Mediations, which is based in Albuquerque. As a mediator, people come to me when they have filed lawsuits and they want to try to resolve the case. So every morning, I start out with a case where the sides are really in major disputes. And by the end of the day, most of the time, I'm able to help them come to a resolution of their lawsuit so that the lawsuit can be closed and they can move on. Even if I don't settle a case, if I've explained to both sides what their risks are going forward, they may not settle the case and they may go to court, but they go into court with their eyes wide open as opposed to thinking for sure they're going to win. Everyone always thinks they're going to win, and my job is to explain to both sides what their problems are in their case. I don't know exactly why, but when I was a little girl, I decided I wanted to be a lawyer. And I think part of it was that I always felt this connection to helping the little guy. And I felt like law was such a good way to do that. There had never been any lawyers in my family. I knew that to go to law school, I had to be a good student. And so I worked really hard to be a good student. I graduated from law school in 1982. And even though there were a lot of women in my class, it was still a really male dominated profession. And so that was challenging. And sometimes I felt, and sometimes I was, not in the in crowd. And that had difficulties. What I really tried to do was say, I just need to do as good a work as I can every day. And now I look back and I think that women have some advantages. My very first job out of law school was working for a small civil rights firm in Santa Fe. And we sued a lot of times the government for wrongful arrest, for discrimination, for all of any of those kinds of things. But I quit. I wanted to get into the courtroom more, and so I relatively quickly I went to the New Mexico State Public Defender, where I defended people charged of crimes who didn't have enough money to pay for their own lawyer. And so I got into court that way. I have, in my career, I've had many, many different jobs. And I always tell young lawyers, they'll be in a job and they'll say, oh, I think I'm going to quit law. And I say, don't quit law. There's so many different opportunities in law. So if you don't like the particular job you're in, look around, think about what you do like doing in that job, and then try to figure out something that would fit. So I started mediating. I opened up my practice mediating about 17 years ago, and I went to training, specific training for it because I didn't have any training, and I've been doing that, doing the mediation ever since. Well, I went to Manzano High School, and the first thing that I would say about Manzano that really, really helped me in mediation is that it was so diverse. We had people from all over the city. We had people of all different economic levels. And at the time, I didn't do it on purpose, but I really tried to befriend people from all walks of life. And I think that that really helps. I think when you're if mediation or problem solving is something that you're interested in, I think it's really, really good to try at the high school level to see if you can walk in the shoes of the people who surround you. Um, I also I felt like I had really good teachers who taught me how to think critically. And so as you're studying and you're being given something, it's really, really important to question it. To question it and say, well, let me see the evidence. Let me, what is the basis of that? So that you start to be your own independent thinker, not hauling off and just thinking whatever comes to your mind or whatever you might have heard, in the from your friends or, whatever, but to really question and say, okay, what's the evidence there? Explain that to me. I don't see it. If you're sitting there thinking, I could never go to law school, I'd like to go to law school, but I can't do it. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I want you to get that out of your head. Because if you're interested in law school, if you really want to do it, you can make it happen. The law school here in New Mexico is very, very committed to helping people from all walks of life become lawyers in New Mexico, and that benefits the state. And so, if you're interested in law school, really keep it in mind. It has been a fantastic career for me.